The Adventures of Robin Hood. Chapter 1, Trouble in the Forest. A long time ago, a famous outlaw lived in England. His name was Robin Hood. Robin and his band of merry men lived in the green woods of Sherwood Forest. The forest was near the town of Nottingham. Everyone in the countryside loved Robin and his men. The outlaws always took care of those in need. They robbed the rich and gave to the poor. They rarely said no to anyone in need who asked for something. This is the story of how Robin Hood became an outlaw. It began one day when the sheriff of Nottingham announced an archery contest. Robin was only 18, but he was very proud of his skill as an archer. "I'm going to enter the contest," he said to himself. One morning, Robin chose his best bow and arrows. Then he set off from the town of Locksley. It was a beautiful day in May. Flowers bloomed in the field and apple blossoms filled the trees. Birds chirped and brightly and the sun felt warm. Robin whistled as he walked along. He was happy to be outdoors. On his way to Nottingham, Robin passed through Sherwood Forest. Suddenly he came upon a group of the king's men sitting under a tall oak tree. The men were feasting and drinking. One man, with his mouth full of food, called out to Robin. "Hello, little lad," he said, laughing. "I see you have your toy bow and arrows. Where are you taking them?" "Ha ha!" The other man laughed too. Robin got angry. He didn't like being laughed at. "My bow and arrows were as good as yours," he declared. "In fact, I'm on my way to the Nottingham. I'm going to compete in the sheriff archery contest." "Ha ha! Listen to him," said another man. "He's just a boy, but he thinks he can compete against real archers." Robin thought. "I'm very good at shooting. I can hit a target 1,000 feet away," he said boldly. The man roared with laughter. "Listen to him," the first man said. "It's easy to boast when there is no target in sight." At this, Robin grew even angrier. "Actually, I see a herd of deer in that clearing over there. I bet £5 that I can kill biggest one. And I bet £5 that you won't kill anything," the man replied. Robin picked up his bow and swiftly shot an arrow toward the herd. The finest deer in the herd dropped dead a second later. "Ha!" Robin cried. "How do you like that shot? I wish I'd bet £500. The king's men weren't laughing anymore. Now they were angry. The man who'd lost the bet was the angriest of all. "You'd better get out of here," the man said with a nasty sneer. "You just killed one of the king's deer, and that's a very serious crime." "Catch him!" cried another man. "No, let him go," said someone else. "He's just a boy, he won't hurt anyone." Robin stood silently glaring at the man. Finally, he whirled around and stuck off. As he strode away, his blood boiled. He was still young and sometimes had a bad temper. The man who had made the bet was still furious too. Still furious too. This young stranger had embraced him in front of the others. Suddenly he sprang to his feet and grabbed his own bow. He sent an arrow whistling toward Robin. Luckily of Robin, the man's aim wasn't perfect, but his arrow still came very close to Robin's head. Robin spun around and lifted his own bow again. "You said I was no archer," he said. "I dare you say that again." He shot an arrow back to the other man, and the man came forward with a sharp cry. As the other men gathered around their friend, Robin took off into the dense woods. "Go after him!" cried one man. But none of the men followed the bold young archer. They were all too afraid of his skill with his bow and arrow. Instead, they turned back to their dead friend and lifted his body. They began to carry him toward Nottingham. As for Robin, all the joy had disappeared from that beautiful spring day. He hung his head. "What I have done," he thought. I wish I'd never seen those men. I wish I'd never raised my bow to shoot that first arrow." Guilt and sadness filled young Robin Hood. "Yet there is nothing I can do now," he thought. "What is done is done."